Okay, so today we are doing a practice problem involving two-way tables, in particular one in which we need to fill out a two-way table. So you take a survey and ask 248 students about taking art and foreign language classes. You find 175 students are taking a language. Of that group, 36 are also taking art. 22 students are not taking either. And we are tasked with creating and filling out a two-way table, including all marginal frequencies. So as you can see here, I have already constructed the two-way table. Not quite perfectly, obviously. I sort of wish I'd done it in pencil, but this can be a lesson to you, use pencil. But the first thing we need to do is we need to figure out what our labels of each side of this are. And if we look at our prompt again, it's talking about taking art and foreign language classes and whether or not the students are taking them. So each of my labels are going to be foreign language and art respectively. So I'm going to put art across the top and foreign language on the side. All right, so we have art and foreign language. And the categories we have are just yes and no. Yes and no as in whether or not they are taking them. I'm sure you could use some other words, but we're just going to go with yes and no. So now we need to fill out the information that's provided to us. And the first thing we get right off the bat is that we asked 248 students to take part in the survey. So our total of totals in the corner down here is going to be 248. Then if we look at our next sentence, it says you find 175 students are taking a language. So that means yes, 175 total students are taking the language. So that will fill in this category. So the 175 students who are taking a language, that is irrespective of whether or not they are taking art or not. Now, the other information we're given, 36 students are taking art, and as well as the foreign language. That's why it says of that group, meaning of the 175, 36 are taking art. So that fills out this spot. Yes, they're taking a foreign language, and yes, they're taking art. And finally, it says that 22 students are not studying either. So they are not taking art, and they are not taking a foreign language, meaning they're in the intersection of those two right here, which would be, once again, that's 22 students. That should be 22 students. All right, so at this point, we filled out all the information that was provided to us, and all that's left now is to find the rest of the information in the table. So when you're trying to fill out one of these tables, essentially speaking, what you're looking for is you're looking for any spot in which you have two pieces of information and you're missing the third piece. So you have two knowns and one unknown. And if we look at this particular example, the first one you probably see is when we look at the yes column or the yes row of foreign language. You'll see 36 people are taking foreign language and art, and 175 are taking the foreign language. That means that the remainder of students who are not also taking art must necessarily not be taking art. I should say the remainder of students are not taking art, meaning it's the difference between 175 and 36. So 175 minus 36 gives us 139. So we can say that 139 students are taking a foreign language and are not taking art. This is simply the process of elimination. You're taking the foreign language, you're either taking art or you aren't. And since we have a total of 175 taking the foreign language, these two must add up to 175, so this must be 139. Now we have a couple of places we can go from here. And the first one I'm going to do is take a look at the students who are not taking a foreign language, because we know 175 are, and we know there were 248 survey respondents. So that means the difference between those two must be the amount who are not taking a foreign language. So 248 minus 175 gives us 73. So we have 73 students who are not taking a foreign language. All right, well, if we look down one of our columns again, we can look at this number of students who are not taking art. We see we have 139 who are not taking art and are taking a foreign language, and we have 22 who are taking neither art nor a foreign language. So the sum of those two will be the total number of students who are not taking art, which is 139 plus 22. And that gives us a total of 161 students who are not taking art. All right, we have just 2 more pieces to fill out, and we can fill them out this time by reading across our columns. So here we have the students who are not taking foreign language. Of those students, 22 of them are also not taking art, and there are a total of 73 who are not taking the foreign language. So that means that the remainder must be taking art. So we do 73 minus 22, and we get 51. 51 students are taking art and not taking a foreign language. 22 are taking neither art nor a foreign language, for a total of 73 not taking a foreign language. And for our final spot, we've now filled out our last column and our last row, so we can use either one of them to calculate. I'm going to go ahead and add up the number of students who are taking art, which is 36 who are also taking a foreign language and 51 who are not. So 36 plus 51 gives us a total of 87 students who are taking art. And just as a quick check, 87 plus 161 does in fact equal 248. So we did end up calculating everything correctly. All right, so we've managed to fill out our two-way table, and there's just one more thing I want to do with this two-way table, and that is calculate the joint and marginal frequencies. So the joint and marginal frequencies are, essentially speaking, all of these numbers here divided by the total of 248. So I'm basically just going to include percentages for every spot. So if we start with the number of students taking both a foreign language and art, that's 36. That's 36 out of the 248. And 36 divided by 248 gives us 14.145, which I will round to 14.5%. Then let's look at the number of students who are taking a foreign language and are not taking art, which is 139. 139 out of 248 gives us 56.0%. And we just need to continue to proceed on this path. 51 divided by 248, that's our number of students who are taking art and not taking a foreign language, is 20.6%. And again, that was just 51 divided by 248. And finally, 22 divided by 248, that's the students taking neither art nor foreign language, comes out to 8.9%. Let's do a quick check to make sure that we've actually calculated this correctly by adding up all 4 of those numbers, because the sum of all the entries within our table, not on the margins, but the sum of all the entries within our table should equal the 100%, because they should all add up to 248. So we have 14.5 plus 56 plus 20.6 and plus 8.9. And I made a mistake on my calculator, which is unfortunate. So let's do this again. 14.5 plus 56 plus 20.6 and plus 8.9 actually comes out to be exactly 100. I was a little concerned that it would not come out to be exactly 100 due to rounding, but it ended up doing so. All right, well, now we're going to calculate our marginal frequencies, because these 4 right here are all joint frequencies because they are the intersection of 2 of the properties. So either yes or no on art and foreign language. So let's look at our margins. Our first one is going to be this 175. Those are all the students who are taking foreign language. So 175 divided by 248 gives us 70.6%. And then we will do the number of students not taking foreign language, which is 73 divided by 248, which gives us 29.4%. And it's not difficult for me to see that 70.6 and 29.4 add up to 100%. And that should not come as a surprise, because of all the students that were interviewed, all of them are either taking foreign language or they are not taking foreign language. It has to be one of the 2. All right, now as for students who are taking art, we have 87 divided by 248, which comes out to 35.1%. And then for the 161 who are not taking art, we have 161 divided by 248, which of course ends up equaling 64.9%. And the only other one I would add in, which is kind of trivial, is just to say that in our total of totals, over here we have 100%. So here we've managed to fill out our entire table with both all of the respondents' answers from the limited information we were given in the prompt, as well as the joint and marginal relative frequencies of each of them. So that covers what I would characterize as probably being one of the more difficult overall word problems or problems in this section. They're pretty much all word problems where you have to fill out a table with a limited amount of information. And then we went the extra step of also finding our joint relative frequencies and our marginal relative frequencies.